Hi guys, it's me, Resident Bree here, and I am back with another video. Black lives still matter, and you can still find the links to petitions and places to donate to the Black Lives Matter movement in my description below. Make sure you check it out because the fight is not over. For this week's Worth the Watch episode, I am going to be reviewing the Netflix original Hollywood. It's a mini-series on Netflix, and it was created by the one and only Ryan Murphy. If you don't know who that is, check out American Horror Story. Hopefully you won't regret it. There are 7 episodes to this mini-series, and each episode runs around 45 minutes to an hour. So, if you haven't seen it, this is going to be a spoiler-filled episode, and I highly suggest you go do a nice little binge before you watch this episode because there's a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack, and a lot to rate. So, let's get started. Okay, before we get into it, I just want to address they're doing work on my street, so if you hear an underlying hum throughout this entire video, that's what it is. I couldn't get around them doing this. I had to film while they were doing it, but the show must go on just like it does in Hollywood. To put it in really simple terms, the plot follows a group of people who are trying to create a movie called Meg, and they face all types of obstacles as they're trying to create it. The story is set in a post-World War II world, so having things like a female producer and a director who's married to a black woman who's also starring as the leading lady in this movie, which creates an interracial couple. And the movie being written by a black man who is also gay was just a whole lot. It was a whole lot for that time period. So it was a triumph story pretty much. I think there was 4 main storylines in this movie that made the movie what it was. And that's the storylines of Jack Costello, Camille Washington, Archie Coleman, and Avis Amber. So we're gonna start off with Jack because he's the first character you meet in this series. Jack is an aspiring actor who moves his family to Hollywood so he can make it big. He finds a lot of trouble getting work when he first gets there, and he ends up being offered a job by a character by the name of Ernie, who offers him a job to work at his gas station. Now, Ernie's gas station, it's a gas station, but it's a gas station with party in the back. And to give you a hint if you don't know what that means, the party in the back involves other people and is still illegal today. While working this job, Jack is still going out and auditioning for different acting roles. One of the roles being for the movie Peg. He gets the role partially because he deserved it, also partially because he was sleeping with the producer of the movie, but he gets it nonetheless. While this is happening, he finds out that his wife, who was pregnant, was actually pregnant with twins by another man, so his life is in turmoil at the moment. But he ends up finding love in the producer that he slept with daughter, and they end up getting engaged by the end of the movie. Peg ends up being a success, and Jack becomes the newest and the hottest leading actor of Hollywood. Now, let's move on to Camille Washington. Camille was also an aspiring actor, and she also auditioned for Peg. She gets it, but there is immediate pushback from the beginning. Not only was she now the leading lady of an interracial couple, she was also getting attacked in her personal life because she was married to a white man, the white man that was directing this movie. But he was completely supportive, and she even got a little bit of help and advice from Hattie McDaniel. And in the end, she ends up winning Best Actress at the Oscars. The third storyline, Archie Coleman. Archie was a black gay film writer, and just from that statement, you should know he had a hard time. They tried to credit his movie to somebody else. They told him they would never be able to get funding because he was a black man and gay, but they ended up coming to a compromise, him and the producer and the other people at work behind the movie, and they end up changing the name of it to Meg. While this is happening, Archie's boyfriend, Roy Fitzgerald, is also trying to make it big in the industry. He actually ended up auditioning against Jack, but he didn't get it. However, because of Henry Wilson's push, Roy ends up getting a small role in the movie. It's also important to note that Roy was also known as Rock Hudson. In the end, Archie and Roy walk down the red carpet hand in hand at the Oscars. He ends up winning, and the film ends up winning Best Picture. He shares a romantic kiss with his boyfriend in front of all of the Oscars, which they probably had heart attacks over, and he gains the notoriety that he deserves in Hollywood. The fourth storyline is Avis Amber. Avis was the wife of Ace Amber, who is the head of Ace Productions in Hollywood, which is a production company, and the production company that is producing Peg/Meg. While participating in some extracurricular activities outside of his marriage, Ace has a heart attack, and Avis now is running Ace Productions. And she had a lot of internal conflict over what to do. I mean, her daughter, who ended up being with Jack, also wanted to be the lead role for the movie, but she had to be fair. She was just struggling internally, having to make a lot of those decisions for the movie when it came to budget, when it came to marketing, even when it came to protecting her actors and keeping them safe. But when Ace gets out the hospital, he dismantles everything that she was working for. At a dinner, she finally confronts him. She tells him, "I want to be in the front with you, not standing behind you." And he says, okay. But they end up having makeup sex that night and he dies for real this time. So even though she's mourning the loss of her husband, she is now the leader of Ace Productions through and through, and no one can take that from her, and the movie ends up getting made. Of course, there were a lot of other side stories going on, but that's just too many stories to get into, and if you really want to know them, I encourage you to watch it, just like I do for everything else. Now let's get into my highlights and my lowlights. One of my highlights is the acting. The acting was just top tier in this movie. This, of course, was a fictional movie with fictionalizations of actual people in Hollywood at that time, but I believed everything. Like, this was a movie that I didn't have to worry about taking me on a journey because the actors were there and they were taking me on that journey at all times. Another highlight, there were so many twists and turns in this series. Like, you really never knew what was going to happen. I think watching it, I knew in some degree that it was going to work out for them, but you just never knew. It was so unpredictable. If you had told me that the first episode was gonna be what it was, I'd be like, are we watching Black Mirror? Like, what is this? But it was great. I didn't really have any lowlights for this series. There was nothing that really like irritated me or made me mad, as in it took me out of the world of the movie, or it just wasn't up to my liking, I guess you could say. I didn't really have any of those moments. I didn't think there were many, if any, lowlights for this series. But if you had some lowlights when you were watching it, comment down below, because something that I could feel as a highlight could have been your lowlight. So I'm really interested to see what you guys felt about it. Now to my rating. I give this series a 9 out of 10. I thought it was a great series. I love that there's probably not gonna be another season and they're just gonna leave it as it is, which I think is a great idea because I love the ending of it. I love the acting. I love the cinematography. I love the storyline. It made complete sense to me and I didn't really see any plot holes or anything that would throw me off. I think it was ambitious and I think it makes just as much as a cultural impact as it would have then now, which says a lot and says a lot of where we are in the state of our country. But I think that it has just as much cultural significance, especially having the two leads that were of color in this movie. Actually, there were three. It was Camille, it was Archie, and it was Anna Mae Wong, who also has her own storyline in it. She is the fictionalized version of the real-life Chinese-American actress, and because of Raymond, Camille's boyfriend, she finally gets the recognition that she deserves at the Oscars at the end. So, because of its storyline, its diverse cast, and its cinematography, and the acting, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Was it worth the watch? Yes. I highly recommend that you watch it if you have time. It is a Netflix original. It came out May 1st, 2020, so it is very new on the platform. And I believe that even if you aren't interested in Hollywood and in movies, I think you will really like this series. But of course, the only person that can deem if it's worth the watch is you. So go watch Hollywood. Comment down below how you felt about it. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next Saturday with a new video. Bye, loves.